Hello, welcome to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and this is going to be a different kind of video. For those of you who like numbers, meta, stats, and nonsense of such nature, you might really enjoy this. We're going to be looking at some of the statistics from Untap.gg's premium service on the standard 2022 meta. Now, I live in this weird place where I make a lot of content. People watch it. A lot of people try to kind of emulate what I do. I provide a different deck every day. So whatever Magic you're into, probably a few times a month, there's a deck you want to download and try out. So a lot of people play the lists that I put out into the world, and it's always interesting because you get a lot of feedback. And I see the numbers going out, like I see how many people download the deck lists. But what comes back often is either, hey, I won like 1 million games and I got from Platinum to Mythic, thank you very much. Or, more commonly, I lost 5 in a row and I hate you and you destroyed my wild cards. So we're going to take a look at larger sample size, which any video that I make and any numbers I can give you will always be small sample size, very biased towards the experience that I had and what the RNG did to me as far as putting me on the play or the draw and what matchups they handed me and the skill of the opponents I play against. Not a lot I can do about that, and I think anybody who takes the time to think about it understands. But once the decks fall into your hands, it's really interesting to see what happens and what the win rates are like for people who watch my videos and download the deck lists that I play, and comparing those to lists that are played by others. And we can actually find all this on Untap.gg's meta overview. So I'm in standard 2022, which is of course only best in one. You can do like some maximum date ranges. This is maximum date range. You can also select like bronze to mythic filters if you want to. So if I only wanted to count the platinum and higher results, I'm just going to count all the results for the purpose of this video. Just because somebody's in bronze doesn't mean they're a bad player. They may not have time to rank up to mythic consistently. And I would encourage people who look at rank as strictly a skill representative to consider the same way. Some of the kind of top level meta stats that you get that are really interesting are win rates, current daily win rates, and popularity. And these are really important when considering how to approach a meta. So if we look and we see that approaching 25% in the meta will be mono-colored aggressive strategies, then you know that you have to continue to build with those kind of strategies in mind. Then you see interesting things like this. Bant Party is the number 6th most played deck at 4.3% of the meta. You may not play it at all on a given day, but it's the number 1 highest win rate at the moment. So things like this kind of help you tilt your head towards what to pay attention to in the meta and what's on the rise. Personally, I think that Bant Party, well, we'll get to it. It's one of the decks we're going to cover today. We're going to cover all 8 of these decks right here. And then you get these sweet graphs that show you popularity over time. This one is specifically fun for me because as you see some of these decks that come in hot and then fall off over time, like mono green, some decks like mono white, people figure it out, and then there's season resets. So like when the season reset, people jumped on mono white again to get back to mythic, and then its popularity trickles over time, things of that nature. But I particularly love some of these, like this is Simic Ramp, and you can see these spikes in popularity. Guess what happened on those days? Yep, you figured it out. I made a video. So Rakto's Treasure, doing the same thing. Green's resurgence in popularity was around the time I made a video. Its resurgence in popularity, though not as pronounced, is around the time that I made that video about It. And it's kind of a fun thing to watch that people pick up the decks when the video is new, and then it fades off over time and they jump on something new. So while mono white might just be trickling along, my viewers seem to be, and there seem to be a lot of you willing to hop from the deck I played this week to the deck I played a few days later to the deck I played a few days later. So when I put out a video of kind of the try-hard most respected and loved archetypes every like 5 days or so, people want to jump on it and bring it back and play it. And that's really fun. And I think that's really cool. It's also really cool to look at the win rates. So like Raktos was kind of floundering, not even a great win rate. And then it started to get better. And then we put out the video. It was floundering again early in the season and it got better. Simic also, like you put out the video with the list and it gets better. Green, the latest list, the win rate got significantly better. So at points where the win rates actually go up when the list comes out, that's very encouraging. It means people are finding success with the decks. It also might mean something else, that players who watch YouTube videos for content to learn more about decks are better at playing Magic than those who don't. Or at least, like if you were to compare similar experiences, skill levels, and collections to people who watch videos, generally probably get better than people who don't have time to watch videos. So I think that makes sense. I don't think that that's a full-on pat on the back. I think that's just saying, in general, with any skill, when you take the time to invest in it and watch other people play and learn from others, that you tend to get better. So it's really cool to see the win rates with the decks go up after a video is released. But let's go into the individual decks here, and we're going to start with number 1, Mono White. And this is where things get really, really fun, because it actually breaks it down by versions. And we see that at 200,000 matches played since July 8th, Mono White Aggro has a 59.4% win rate. Now, what they're showing here are minimum decks with 200 matches played. So these are probably lists put out into the world either from tournament results or content creators, because few things in Magic have that kind of reach anymore, and there aren't pro tours or major events, but there are some online tournaments, and there are competitive Magic players who tweet their favorite lists. So these probably come from places like that. This first list of Mono White, I've been trying to figure out who created it. This kind of telltale cards being 3 Redains, 2 Kabira's takedowns. I actually didn't find it. I looked through a lot of content creators stuff. So if you know who made the 3 Redain, 2 Kabira takedown Mono White deck and popularized it, go ahead and leave that in comments. Putting up a 60.2% win rate. I mean, aggro in best of 1 is busted, but something I'm proud of, with 16,000 matches played. This is my build of Mono White from a video that I released pretty early on. The telltale cards are the 1 copy of Grandmaster of Flowers, the 2 copies of Cave of the Frost Dragon, the 2 copies of Portable Hole, and the 4 copies of Paladin class, is things that not everybody runs. And in 16,000 matches played, a 62% win rate, a little better than the most popular version. Very proud of you guys. You went out there and you crushed it. Go, you guys. That video was published on July 14th, got over 100,000 views, so a lot of attention. My win rate on that day in a small sample size was 11-2 at 85%. You guys took it out there and made it one of the winningest individual like kind of pieces of deck here on the ladder for the season. So great job, viewers. If you played some Mono White, give yourself a hand. I still hate this deck in hindsight, but I'm glad that it did well for so many of you. The next deck that we're going to cover is Mono Green. This is a fun one. Mono Green Stompy. It has a lot of matches played for the archetype, of course. I mean, Mono Green's everywhere. 180,000 matches played with about a 59% win rate. And here, the most popular version is a version with the telltale cards are 2 Jesper's Sentinels, 2 Gnarled Professor, 2 Snakeskin Veils, and 2 each of Lair of the Hydra and Faceless Haven. I'm not sure where this one came from either. Once again, I think it came out in like early tournament results. I think it won like the very first of these qualifier tournaments that was held by an online organizer for 2022. So I think that's where it came from, but maybe I'm wrong. If you know the content creator for this specific version, let me know. By the way, these versions are card for card identical. There's no give. If you stray a card, it doesn't count. So that's a kind of an interesting thing to note. But the second version right here at 58.9% win rate with 79,000 matches played, again, just slightly higher than the nearest competition. That is yours truly coming at you again. This video was published on July 13th, got almost 143,000 views, and my win rate with the deck was a clean 7-0 on a 100% win rate. And you guys picked it up and went out there on the ladder, Ornreef Oozes and all, which honestly is kind of funny because I even said at the end of the video that this card is kind of the meme of the deck, a little bit of nonsense. Ornreef Oozes and all, you went out there and you got almost a 59% win rate over 7,900 matches. So great job. And just going down the list here, I believe that this is a Croaky's version with telltale signs being 4 Tangled Florahedrons. And then down here, oops, sorry, getting nervous. I get twitchy, man. I get excited. And then I click a lot. Anyway, this is the latest version of the deck, which was a video put out just about a week ago as kind of what I would call the final version of Mono Green Stompy. And it has 1 Inscription of Abundance as kind of a telltale card, and 3 Asika's Chariots and 4 Gnarled Professors. And it looks like that one's also doing well. So 58% win rate for you guys who've picked up that deck. Well played in the Mono Green front. Moving right along, we're getting to Is It Dragons. Now, this is an interesting one. I feel I let the team down on Is It Dragons for a very long time. I assume sometimes that when a deck is fully covered, that when everybody knows about a deck, that they don't need a video on the deck, or that they wouldn't like a video on the deck. But my experiments in the last month or so have proven that's just not true. You guys not only want to see the decks that are popular, but you want, like, as close to what I would call the build as you can get, and that actually is highly watchable content for a good amount of the audience. It's usually an outspoken minority who is like, grown this deck and play more jank and same deck every day. A lot of you actually tune in for the best build of the competitive meta piles, and I feel like I let you down on Is It. None of these Is It decks, to my knowledge, are mine. The number 1 and number 2. I think the number 1 was a tweet from pro player Brad Nelson, but maybe I'm wrong. The telltale cards being 2 Disdainful Strokes, 3 ofs in Behold and Prismari Command, 1 of in Shatterskull Smashing. This deck has 5,400 matches played, 53% win rate. Pretty interesting, pretty well done. And then I don't know where the Heated Debate version comes from. So that's another one that definitely not me. 3 Dragons Fire, 2 Heated Debate as kind of the telltale cards in this 5,000 match build, both putting up respectable win rates. When we get to my first contribution, it is not one I'm proud of. This was pretty early in the format. We go back to July 12th, 86,000 views on that video. I had a 46% win rate with a 6 and 7 performance. And this one did in the wild. You guys did better than I did. 51% win rate. Oh, wait, I'm looking at the wrong one. 51.9% win rate, 2,700 matches. And the telltale cards being 3 Imrith, 3 Galazeths, and 4 Prismari Commands as numbers that not everybody uses. So, good on you guys. Making it work. Also, late in the format, I released what I think is a much better version. The version with the telltale cards being 4 Cinderclasm, 1 Test of Talents, 1 Negate, 1 Disdainful Stroke, 1 Into the Royal. This version is pretty new. The video only came out a few days ago. 1,600 matches played. Also, interest in the format is lower as they've started to release new cards, so I'm not surprised at the low numbers there. You guys are putting up a 51% win rate so far. I'd hoped it would be higher, but you know, it is late in the format, and I get it. A lot of people are already kind of over, especially Goldspan into Epiphany stuff. So you can only do that so many times. Or can you? But yeah, I wish I'd done something like this and really gotten to the bottom of what I thought was the best Is It Dragon list about a month sooner. I think I could have been more helpful to you guys. The next one that we get to talk about is Rakto's Treasure. And this is a fun one because this is a deck that just kind of lurked around in the meta, and then the popularity and the win rate of the deck skyrocketed when I made a video that apparently connected with a lot of you. This list right here at the top with 8,500 matches played. By look at that average duration. It's about 2 minutes higher than the Is It deck and about 4 minutes higher than the white deck. You guys are in for the grind. I love you. So this Rakto's Treasure deck was published on September 3rd, really late in the format by standard 2022 metrics. Almost 90,000 views, so it did pretty well. On that day, I went 6 and 1. 100% on the play like we should, and it was a really good video. I remember that, and I really enjoyed the deck. You guys took it out and got almost a 56% win rate over 8,500 matches, and a really good job. Thanks. I'm really proud of you guys. I will say this, if you want to get further, you can click on the deck itself, and like you can actually, there's a way to see matchups. Where was it? There. Oh yeah, over up here. If you click this top matchup tab from this main screen, it actually shows you the matchups across all these other archetypes. And Rakto's Treasures doing 46% against mono white is a tilt for me. Now, that is the archetype as a whole. It's not necessarily my list, but my list is so much of the representation of the archetype. Well, I guess 81,000 matches versus 8,500 isn't that much. So I guess actually there isn't a lot of consensus on the build for Rakto's Treasures, so there's a lot of loose builds in that stats. But I mean, I built this to beat white, guys. You gotta beat white. So go beat white, please. Whatever you do, play Rakto's Treasure, smash white. But really proud that we kind of put the archetype on the map. It became much more played, and you guys put up a great win rate with it. So really happy with that. There's a few more versions if you go down. I'm not quite sure where they came from, but there's some other interesting versions here that have had some good win rates. And that's another fun thing. You can scroll and look for the high win rate versions. You can look for what the lower win rate versions have different from the ones with higher win rates to tell yourself more about like what cards actually work for the archetype or are best for the archetype. It's like pretty fun stuff. So yay Raktos, woohoo. Let's go ahead and move along to Simic Ramp. Very contentious on this one. We had the videos about the drama between Arjuna and I made a video with the wrong list. So probably goofing up the stats to some degree somewhere. But in 79,000 matches played, Simic Ramp put up a 56% win rate in the meta, definitely competing for tier 1. And right there at the top at 56.1% is the version that I published in the last video I made on Simic Ramp, which called I'm ending the drama. I made a huge mistake. Basically all right, I played with the wrong version. This is the version I would prefer that you guys played. You took it out there and you won 56% of matches, so very well done. The next version here, I believe, is Arjuna's first version, with the one Into the Royal, the one Quandrix Campus, the one Mordenkainen, the one Glasspool Mimic, the one Jwari Disruption as some of the telltales of this. When we recorded a podcast and talked about it, I think this is what he was playing, and a 56.3% win rate there with 3,400 matches played. Bravo. And moving right down, like I believe this is the first Simic Ramp video that I made, 59.7% win rate on that one over 2,500 matches. So really good job out there, those of you repping Simic Ramp. All these versions of both Arjuna's revisions and of the list that I put out getting pretty high win rates, like over 55%, which is really respectable for any Netdeckable pile, to be honest, especially one developed by content creators, not necessarily by pro players. I know I'm pretty proud when I see you guys doing so well with the deck. So good work. Again, if you want to check matchups, there's interesting data there about what you're favored against. And we see in 10,000 matchups, mono white is winning, but then we see positive, very positive matchups all over the place against the other most popular decks in the format. So while mono white can still just clown you because they're on the play, it's not necessarily that we're going to be the greatest deck against mono white. It's that we're going to really hand it to the other decks in the format, of which there are a lot. Mono white, even as the most popular deck, is only 13% of the meta. So if we beat everything but mono white, we can still achieve around an 80% win rate. So that's pretty good, just as an extreme example. BAM Party. This is an interesting one. I think that the pile that I can look back and say, oh yeah, this pile here, this one is actually mine. No, it's not. I didn't have the defense in this one. This one is mine, the second one. 60% win rate versus 59.9 win for the team. Good job. Now, where did this one? I think I saw it on Channel Fireball, like written about by world champion Huey Jensen, who, that's really cool. Yeah, the 4 Spoils of Adventure and the 4 concerted defense being kind of key cards. Maybe it was Ali Eldrazi who played it first. I know somebody told me he was playing a party deck pretty early on. Anyway, party really showed up. In 43,000 matchups, this one has put up a 58.5% win rate to be the winningest deck in the format at many points. And at the current point that I'm recording today is the best win rate deck in the format. I think people are reluctant and really kind of afraid to get into it with this deck. And the reason that I say that, it wasn't good in the last standard. We can all agree on that. And a lot of the cards you'd have to craft for this deck to get it it's not clear it will be good in the next standard. So it might just be wasted crafts. Do you really want to use mythics on Tazri, Beacon of Unity, if it's only good for a couple more days? Same with Squad Commander, same with Limbala, same with the Tajuru Paragon. Like, this is so many rares. Arc Priest of Iona, and they're so narrow. They can only be in this deck. The Bears of Litjara, like, all these are some of the most narrow rares that you could craft. So unless you're a whale like moi and you just absolutely unlock the whole set, if you're getting gems at the bottom of all these sets, this is from what Zendikar Rising is where the party mechanic came from, then this probably isn't for you. And I think that keeps its numbers down, but it is currently the winningest deck. So if you want to speed run Mythic before the new cards come out on Thursday, then maybe you do want to play some party. But really excited. The viewers did put up a 60% win rate with this version of the party deck. I think my results were much more... I forgot to pull up the video for this one. I think that my results were much tamer than that. If I remember correctly, I was just kind of around 500, but you guys put up really good numbers out there in 3,700 matches. So thank you very much for that. And then there are other versions of the deck, and you can see that consistently it's hovering around like a 60% win rate. It's only down here when you get kind of some telltale cards being Usher of the Fallen and Journey to Oblivion that the other versions don't play, that you lose that 60% win rate. So you learn in kind of definitive fashion of what the core of the deck should be and how powerful it can be. You can see also here that Luminarch Aspirant is in some of the builds, Nimble Trapfinder is in others. The Luminarch Aspirant builds seem to be a little better, a little tiny bit better. Anyway, I find that stuff so interesting. Then the next thing that we've got here is Orzhov Control. My baby. Blood Money. One of the first control decks I feel like I really had a hand in popularizing, tuning, and putting out into the world. Average duration, 9.5 minutes. Hell yeah. You guys are in for the long game. I'm proud of you. Getting more out of your money. And then we got 87,000 matches played, which is really cool. 56.6% win rate. Love it. And here at the top, the version from like the very first video that I made with this, right down to the 3 mascot exhibitions and 3 environmental sciences and 1 confront the past. Interesting that you come down here. And this is the version Huey Jensen played my deck for a Channel Fireball video, which is, again, I've mentioned it before, but a top competitive site for Magic the Gathering information. And Huey Jensen went up to 4 mascot exhibitions and 2 environmental sciences as the only change. And his Channel Fireball viewers put up a 58.7% win rate. So very, very cool as well. And did the 1 mascot exhibition really make the difference? Who knows? Maybe it did. But otherwise, same deck with so many matches played, doing so well. Really cool stuff. As we continue to go down the list, there were other versions that got popularized. I believe Orzhov Control was posted on MTG Arena Zone. I don't know who the original creator was. Telltale cards being 1 Eben Death Draco Lich, something I tried for a while, eventually cut again. 3 Lolth, 2 Onyx. Getting Onyx into the mix is something I always did try to do with the deck quite often. A lot of people played the deck with 1 Necrotic Fumes instead of 1 Confront the Past. Totally fine. But these are so close to the same deck most of the way down that it's hard to say anything other than the original deck actually held up with a lot of people playing it, which is so cool to see, because it makes me so sad to get the comments that are like, I played your deck and it sucks. In the matchups, we went 50-50 with Mono Green Stompy, which green's a good deck, but you gotta love a 55% win rate against the best aggro deck in the format. If I can do that, I'm a happy guy. I gotta tell you, if my legacy to this world can be putting out a deck that beats the best aggro decks in the format, I'm doing my job. I'm here for you guys. Holding it down. So very, very happy. And then Dimir Control is actually the last of the top 10. And this is another one where I feel like I let you guys down. I did my best. I put out a number of Dimir Control lists. The number one deck on this one with 93,000 matches played for the archetype, this version only had 2,600 matches played. So there's a there is no consensus in Dimir control, and across the archetype, 49% win rate. But this was like the first Dimir control deck I put out. This one came out on, where is it? July 17th to about 72,000 views. I played the deck a lot. I got a 17-9, 65% win rate. And out in the wild, it didn't hold up. 46.5% win rate, kind of a heartbreaker for me, but I really liked this list. But early in the format, it became clear very quickly that with all the creature lands and with what mono white and mono green do and the power of their classes, Ranger class and Paladin class, that this type of fully reactive control deck just wouldn't be viable. So as the format shaped up and people figured out what was good, this got worse and worse and worse, sadly. And a few different versions have been published. I think that this was also another one of mine that I published. This was a version that won a tournament early on with the Telltale cards being Crippling, Fear, 2 Blood in the Snow, and 2 Shadows Verdict. I played with this one on stream a bit, also struggled. But as you can see, as far as Dimir goes, it's like 40-some% win rates all the way down. I do feel really bad. I feel bad that my version did a bit worse than others, so I'm going to strive to do better in the future. This one almost broke 50%. A couple of you out there who lost and didn't get this to 50%, you brought shame to the dojo. But this is the version that was most recently published with 2 Mind Flayers, 4 Kazumas, and 2 Professor Onyx, and 2 Test of Talents as the Telltale cards. And it almost got there. It was so close. It was so close. This version actually did, and I'm not sure where exactly it comes from. Maybe it's a Sonio brew. I'll have to go check it out. The Mercurial Transformation seems like a Sonio move. So as far as like the Telltales, although 2 Ebon Death, I'm really not sure. But this one actually did hit 50% with 760 matches played. So if you're looking for a new Dimir control deck for the next day or 2 to try out, I would go down here. But yeah, that's another fun thing about this is you can look through your favorite archetype for the list that is winning the most and adopt the winningest list if you want to really jump the bandwagon. There are also several pages of this. So if you want to keep scrolling through and try to find one that really cooks, like here's a 53.6%er on 370 matches. The smaller the sample size gets, the less reliable the data is, but maybe it helps you find exactly what you want to play. By the way, 53.6%, maybe the Xanathar did it. Who knows? How did you like this video? Did you enjoy reviewing the stats from some of the videos that I've published in the past? Did you enjoy going over the archetypes and seeing where their win rates are? Would you like to see more matchup of head-to-head of like what is green best against? What are its good matchups and bad matchups? And do you like reviewing? My great joy from this is reviewing the lists that I put out there to see how it worked for viewers in the wild. What kind of win rates and matchups and interesting stuff did you guys do with the deck? But for you, you might be more interested in other numbers. So let me know in the comments what you think of this video. Should I do it about once a month, once every 2 weeks, once a week? Should I do it at all? And does this give you a better perspective of, I guess, what we're doing here? We're the most watched MTG Arena YouTube channel. Arguably, I'm the most watched MTG Arena player in the world by watched hours from the numbers I can find. And it does seem to actually influence formats, what people play. And a lot of you do seem to go out there and have success. So I think it's really good to explore the evidence of that, because I also get a lot of feedback that, hey, your deck sucks, and hey, I couldn't win with it, and things like that. So to balance it out, things like this really help. Anyway, I'm rambling at this point, but I do find this interesting. And again, if you want access to all this, it's untapped.gg. There's a link in the description. If you click it, I do get support. I get a commission when people sign up. And see if you want to try out the premium. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching this video. As always, I will see you in the next video. Oh, and gosh, you stayed till the end. So you know I'm going to say you're cool, but Thursday, it's new card day. So we're going to be doing a massive Twitch stream, probably longer hours than normal, to give everybody their first taste of the new cards, as we try to do, have a big release day stream. So I hope you'll come out and join me on Twitch on Thursday for the launch of Innistrad Midnight Hunt. It's going to be creepy, festive, terrifying. There will be werewolves, there will be zombies, there will be all those things. Thank you for watching this video. As always, I will see you in the next video. You're cool.